we are going to move on to the next speaker, which is Curtis Jaques. So here's what's up with Curtis. If you're not familiar, and I know some of you heard a little bit about this yesterday because you were in the Hall of Fame breakout, so you're going to hear a little bit of repeat of some of his awesome numbers, but you're going to hear even more today. So just so you know, when because here's what's widely thought about Curtis, and it's mostly true, I think, is that Curtis has just always been awesome. Like since he started with Cutco, he's just always been awesome. But what you may not know is that his very first appointment was a group presentation for 11 people, and not one person bought anything or even wanted to hear prices because it went so great. So even if you're thinking, I'm not good at something right now, don't worry, you can still get to a level like Curtis Jaques no matter where you started. So at 12K, only 12K in career sales, $12,000, he joined the events team because he wanted to get more leads. Back then, that's what the events program was to get more leads. We didn't know about how to sell at events back then. So he did it to get more leads. Nowadays, he's at $9.2 million in career sales. He's the one I mentioned earlier that's currently number 2 in the all-time Cutco sales rep career sales leaderboard since Cutco started. Check out these highlights for 2021. $1.2 million in personal sales, his best year ever. He had 6 out of the 12 months he had his best year ever. One of those months was 140 grand. Of course, campaigns, some of his campaigns were best evers. He's a 4-time Silver Cup winner. 16 out of the 18 years, he's been either number 1 or number 2 in the Silver Cup race in his category. So always at the top of the charts. He's loves being part of the events program because he loves watching people grow. He loves the challenging what's possible and moving to bigger heights. He loves adding people to his database, right? It's an easy way, not an easy way, I wouldn't say that, but it's a quick way to add extra customers to your database when you do a great job at the booth. One of Curtis's strengths is the psychology, like really understanding what are people, like what are the buying behaviors, the psychology behind it. How do people feel about salespeople? How do people react to certain things? Like just that kind of stuff. So he's a master at that. I'm sure there are times people watch Curtis, by the way, and they're like, I don't even really understand what's happening. He says this thing and they buy everything and he's just magical. And I think part of that is probably that stuff. He's just understanding psychology and things, which maybe some people don't yet understand. So maybe that's why you don't get it. By the way, something I will say too, if you didn't notice from what Matt was saying and what Josh was saying, what Curtis probably say, is that all of these guys that are really great performers in Cutco still go out and cross-train with other top performers in Cutco. So if you're not going out there and cross-training with people at different booths, different types of people, different things, you should be doing that because that's a really easy way to see how people are getting results and like not just hear it in a message, but see it in action, right? And that's one of the things that Curtis does too, is help cross-train other people. He was chosen to give this message because he's really good at working with past customers. He's good at identifying like those extra pieces they don't have yet and dealing with the thing that like those pieces are not going to fit in their block now. And how do we handle that and all that kind of stuff too. So he's really smart at how he uses the brochures to be more efficient and more effective. He's going to talk about that probably. He loves to travel, hike, camp. When he's splurging on himself, it's reflexology, hydration pools, and bottle service, which we all know if you've been to a company trip with Curtis, you know that he's good at getting bottle service. Also, if you didn't know this, he was a first responder on his EMS high school, like EMS group, which is awesome. I didn't know Curtis was a first responder. He's saving lives, not just selling knives, right? All that stuff. And when I asked Curtis what movie he would have been a part of if he could have, he said Lord of the Rings, but he didn't tell me which character. And there are so many to choose from in that movie. So now I'm super curious, but I'm going to let Curtis take it away. Curtis Jaques.
Thanks, Amy. Can everyone hear me? Thumbs up. Okay, great. Excited to talk to you guys today. I know I got to talk briefly yesterday about business gifts, but really excited today to talk about past customers and using brochures as tools to help you not only streamline it, but make it easier for you to sell faster and quicker at the booth when you're with a client. What I put here is that watching NET over the couple of days, the big thing that I saw here is that if you don't have a game plan going into the booth and selling at a booth, you really need to fix that. And the reason why I say that is because if you can identify right away what customer is in front of you, it's easier for you to not only use the brochures, but it's also easier for you to sell to them as well. And when we talk about psychology of selling, whenever our new customer comes up to the booth, it's exactly what we've heard. First thing that you think of is selling them a set, then selling them a Cutco kitchen, then the family program, then business gifts, and et cetera, right? When it comes to a past customer, the very first thing that ever should come through your mind is upgrading them. Get them a bigger set, get them more Cutco, right? Then do the Cutco kitchen, then the family program, then the business gifts. This should just be something that you have a game plan for every single time that you're about to go into the booth. You shouldn't be one of those reps to just stand there and go, well, I hope someone randomly comes up and just says, I want that, and they buy it from you. Okay, because if that's what you're looking for, you're never going to see the results that you're trying to get. Okay, like I said, brochures are designed as a tool, not a crutch. If you don't know how to effectively use the tool or the brochure, then you're not going to get the results as well. And what I mean by that is you can't just go to the booth and you can't just shove a brochure in their face and say, oh, here you go, read this. You got to be a part of that program. That's going to work for you, right? What you have to do is you have to know the exact timing, the exact perfect moment in which you want to bring up those brochures or those programs to the customers. Like I said, we're trying to streamline the process to make sales happen faster and more efficient. Most people, when they watch me work, they see that I can sell a set really quickly. I can upgrade customers really quickly. I can add things on so fast that they're like, what's going on? And what it is it's just simple. I know exactly when to bring up the tool and how to show that tool so it effectively helps me with my business. Now, what I'm going to teach you guys today is very simple. Now, what most people don't know is that everything I do is very simple, but people want to complicate everything that I do to make it not simple. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to go through my psychology and what I'm thinking when I'm going through an upgrade. And then I'm going to also utilize the upgrade tools to show you different ways to upsell people when you're at their house or at the booth upgrading. Okay, first thing that I have written down here is that when you are at a booth, you need to recognize the 3 types of people that are at the booth. This is going to help you upgrade them faster and easier. The 3 types of people that come up to the booth are people that either want something, people that need something, or people that are looking for something. Now, what I mean by this is that people don't just come up to our booth just to bug us and try to like throw us off of our game. Literally, people walk up to the Cutco booth because they want to be sold. They want someone to sell them something, or they want you to sell them an item that's on the booth. So when I say figure out those 3 people, do they want something? Do they need something? Are they looking for something? It's going to easily take you in a direction where you can show them the brochures and go through the programs faster with those clients. Okay. If a customer wants something, that means that they've already made it up in their mind that they're going to get it and they want it right now. Matt just talked about it in his last talk. If a customer says they want a cheese knife, they want a pair of shears, or they want something, that's his go-to to upgrade them on an order, right? My thing is, if they specifically say, I want this, then I know that I already have an upgrade coming, right? Upgrades are the easiest thing that we sell in Cutco. And if you're having a hard time upgrading people, it's because you're complicating it way too much, okay? If it's someone that needs something, that means that they want you to sell them on why they need it, right? When they go, well, I need this, well, why don't you have it? What we need to do is change that need into a want, right? If they're looking for something in specific, right? Like some people go, I'm looking for a barbecue knife, then your job is to sell them on that barbecue knife, right? So I wrote here, the first thing when opening a dialogue for upgrading is identifying what customer you have in front of you. And those 3 people are people that are past customers that either A, have pieces, have a set, or they have a set and they keep adding to it, okay? Now, if you guys don't know how to ask that person that, I wrote here, ask them specifically, do you have pieces at home or do you have a block? Depending on where they answer that question, if they say I have pieces, you're like, great, what pieces do you have? Go right into it. Let them tell you what it is. If they say, oh, I have a block. Great, what block do you have? And have you been adding to that collection through the years? And their answer is going to tell you exactly where they're at in that upgrade process, right? If they say, oh, I have a set, great. Do you have a set with 2 forks in it, or do you have a set with 1 fork in it, right? Identify right away where you're going to take that customer. If they go, well, I don't know. Okay, do you have 6 table knives or do you have 8 table knives? right? If they have a set, we assume that they either have a galley set or a homemaker because those are our two most bought sets outside of the signature and ultimate. If someone has a signature and ultimate, it's really easy for them to go, I have this big block here. Perfect. You know, and then you know where to go with them. Okay. If they say, I have a set and I've been adding, okay, great. What set do you have and what pieces have you been adding to it? Right? Because now you're understanding exactly what the customer has. That way you can start showing them their packages and their programs that we have available. Now, what I have written down here, and this is something that I've taught for many years, and this is just something I have in my arsenal that I think every certain person on fairs and shows should have, and that's your focus 5. Okay. And if you don't know what a focus 5 is, it literally is the 5 pieces in which you're going to show every single customer that's at the booth. And usually those 5 pieces are pieces that customers have never seen, nobody's introduced them to, or nobody's tried to sell them before. And what I like to do is I like to list these out for you guys because these are my focus 5s. So that if you work with me, you know right away why Curtis is saying these certain pieces. Okay. We have pieces that you got to sell. And then we have pieces that are what we call closing pieces, which they sell themselves that customers absolutely have to have. And those focus 5 pieces are going to be the vegetable knife, the boning knife, the Santugo slicer, the 4-inch gourmet paring knife, and either the prep knife or the Hardy slicer. Now, most of you guys are going, well, if they have a homemaker, they're 9 pieces away from the ultimate. Why are you only focusing on 5? And the answer to that is because we want them to be engaged with those focus 5 pieces that we know come in a complete set, which is the vegetable knife, the boning knife, the Santugo slicer, the gourmet, and the prep knife, right? If we can get them to like 2 or 3 of those knives out of that list, then you have an upgrade coming your way, right? And if you don't know how to sell those items, well, I'd reach out to another top rep, or I would, go on Vector Connect and find out how to do that, okay? Because these knives, they really sell themselves, especially if you use them currently in your own kitchen, but you effectively know how to talk to a customer about it. Like the vegetable knife. This is the sharpest straight edge knife that we have. It's the one that our customer recommend over all of the chopping knives. Instead of buying 3 different chopping knives, you can buy one that does it all. It chops, it dices, it slices, it minces, it juliennes. It's amazing. Like this knife here, you literally touch it on something and it cuts. If you truly want the best piece of Cutco, I'd recommend this knife here in a heartbeat, right? So that customer immediately is like, oh, this is great. Like, I didn't even know about that knife. And you'll get customers like, oh, it's so big. And when they say that, I'm like, yeah, but it's very lightweight. It's easy to use. And it's the knife that every customer loves, right? The next one is the boning knife, right? This is the raw meat knife. This is the knife that comes in every single knife set in the world, except Cutco's. And why is that? Because Cutco knows that you will eventually want that knife and buy it later on. But this one is for the fat, the gristle, the membrane. It's for those hard to reach areas. This thing literally will butterfly a pork chop unbelievably well, right? The next one is what we call our barbecue knife. If you like to barbecue and you do a lot of big meats like brisket, tri-tate, flank steaks, ham hocks, anything like that, if you use big knife, you're going to like this. Why? Because it has a wider blade, it has a longer blade on it, and it's easier to slice through the meats, and you don't have to worry about where the blade is when you're slicing, right? 4-inch gourmet, as you guys know, there's never enough paring knives in the kitchen. It's a funny joke on my team. They laugh at me because they call me the paring knife king. If I see an old lady, I immediately go to my 6 paring knife set, and I'm like, this is the set you need. Right? And most reps are like, oh, don't come out with another paring knife. And I'm like, why not? They buy it like crazy, right? But the 4-inch gourmet, it's just easy to sell. Now, the last 2, the 4-inch gourmet and the prep knife or the Hardy slicer, we call these closing pieces. We all know as reps that we get really excited about certain items of Cutco. And these 2 items here are super easy for us to sell to our clients because not only do we love it, but it's just expected that the customer should own those or have those in their kitchen. Right? Now I put on here, yes, it's only 9 pieces away from the homemaker, or from the homemaker to the ultimate. And the reason why we don't show them a cheese knife and the petite santuco is because when those customers are asking about the upgrade, we always tell them, well, these come in your upgrade plus extra pieces, right? It's just they're added on automatically. And then when you show a customer a cheese knife, we all know how to sell a cheese knife, and we all know how to sell a customer a petite santuco. We call those layup knives. Those are the ones that just seal the deal when it comes to doing the ultimate upgrade. Now, I want you guys to always ask permission before you guys just go ahead and show the customers these pieces. And what I wrote here is the permission question I asked. Can I show you the pieces our customers would recommend to you based on what you currently own? Okay. It's just a simple question, but it's a question that the customer is like, well, if customers are recommending this based off of what I own, then yes, I want to hear it, right? So that phrase again, can I show you the pieces our customers would recommend to you based on what you currently own? It's an easy yes. Now I put in here, note, customers do not know what come in upgrades. So if they don't like a specific knife, then swap it out of the upgrade and don't assume that it comes with the upgrade. And what I mean by that is that I live in Colorado. It's a landlocked state. And a lot of customers, they really don't warm up to the salmon knife. Yes, we can cut lots of watermelons and melons and all sorts of things here in Colorado. But when it comes to filleting fish and doing things like that, not every customer absolutely goes towards that knife. So that's why I put the Santuco slicer as part of our Focus 5. Now, if you're someone that loves selling salmon knives and stuff like that, put it in your Focus 5, sell them the salmon knife. Easy knife to sell in most areas. We just have a little harder time here because people like, we don't eat fish, we eat beef. Okay, great. We have a beef knife, right? I also put in here in the note, also do not be that rep that recommends one knife to a person that is looking for a specific knife. Okay, and I want you guys to write that down because I think this is a key that a lot of reps don't do and aren't familiar with what I'm talking about here. If a customer says they're looking for a good meat knife, don't just recommend a Hardy slicer, or don't just recommend a boning knife or a butcher knife. Like, you should have 3 different knives that you recommend to a customer based off of their needs or what they're wanting. If a customer says they need a melon knife, don't just say, oh, this is the one knife that does melons. Because if you say one knife does melons, they're going to use that knife not only for just their melons, but they're only going to want that one knife, right? Whereas if you tell a customer, well, we have a knife that's designed for this, and designed for that, depends on how you cut up your melons, then the customer is going, oh, well, I need all 3 of those. Same thing with meats. Well, did you know that we have a barbecue set? It's actually 5 knives that are designed for people that barbecue and do a lot of meats. That's going to be the raw meat knife. That's going to be the one that does bones and disjoining. That's going to be the knife that separates and cracks open. We have the knife that does slicing and doing your fine cuts that way. Customers are like, oh, well, I didn't know I was missing the meat knives. Yes. So that's all of these knives here, which come into the upgrade, right? Now, remember, we haven't even gone into the upgrade. I'm just giving you guys ammo so that when you guys go into showing the ammo or showing the upgrade brochure, it just makes sense for not only your brain up here, but for that customer when it comes time for you to show them exactly what comes in the upgrade. Now, after you show them the Focus 5, now is the perfect time for you to do what? Bring in the brochure, right? The upgrade brochure. You show them the Focus 5, and then what you do is you use the line like this. Have you ever thought about adding to your collection? I can tell you this right now, that line of asking them, have you ever thought about adding to your collection? 90% of the people are going to go, yeah, I've always wanted to add to my Cutco collection. If you get someone that says, no, I think we're fine with the knives that we have, then what you do is you go, oh, well, why are you, then you go right into it. Well, why are you fine with the knives that you have? Most customers like having those new pieces that make it easier for their kitchen, right? So we can go down that path, right? But most of the time customers say, yes, we've always liked to add to our collection. Okay, bring out the brochure. We have this new program called the upgrade program, and customers are taking full advantage of it. Start of this next part. It's the smartest program that Cutco has designed specifically for our past customers. Now, why do we want to say that to an upgrade? We can say that it's the smartest program that Cutco designed for our customer, and it could be the upgrade, it could be the Cutco kitchen, it could be any of those brochures or programs. I just use that line because if the customer doesn't have a full complete set of Cutco, then they're missing out on the best pieces that Cutco has to offer, right? The trimmer can only take the customer so far. And most of you guys, if you're laughing or smiling, you know what I'm talking about. If you get that customer, oh, I use the trimmer for everything. It's the only knife I ever need, da, 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 right? What are you constantly doing? You're sharpening their knife. You're taking care of them. They're always complaining that the knife is not taken care of, right? So that's where we come in and say, well, you don't even have the best pieces of Cutco. They're going to make the job easier for you in the kitchen, right? This program was designed and is the smartest program for our customers to take advantage of. Right? Whenever you tell a customer that they're smart or they would be smart if they did this program, they're more likely to go, yeah, I want to be smart. I want to take advantage of this program, right? Explain to them how the program works. What I say here is that once you guys start to explain to them how the program works, make it so simple that you do not confuse your customers. Most of the time, reps don't sell upgrades is because they're confusing the customers. Because they're saying lines like this. So what happens is that you take your old knives and then we give you a new block and then you put those old knives into the new block. And then what we do is we find out what pieces that you want to add onto that collection. And then once you get all those knives, then what we do is we try to find out a solution to put them all, right? You're confusing the customer, right? So don't do that. It's really easy. You show them the brochure, right? I know that my thing's not doing it. Open up the brochure. Right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to say, this program is really simple. If you open the brochure, you'll see the two blocks down on the bottom of the page. And you'll say, what we do is we send you a new block that holds your existing Cutco. And what we do is we just get you the missing pieces that belong in that new block. That's the program. That's how it works, right? See how easy that is? Don't confuse them by talking about what you're going to do is this, and then we're going to do that, right? The program is simple. All we do is send you the bigger block to put your existing Cutco in. And then the new pieces that you pick out here, we put in that block so you have your full complete set. And the customer's like, okay, great, that's awesome. So after you get the customer and you go over it, what you need is you have to get that customer comfortable with the upgrade, and you need to talk to them about saving money, right? It's a strategy ploy that we do, right? Not only are they excited about the upgrade, because every customer wants to upgrade because they absolutely love their old Cutco. By the way, customers that already own Cutco are the easiest targets because they already know the value, they already know the quality of it, and what they want is they want more of it, right? Because as you know, Cutco is that thing that everybody has to have more of, right? We just talked about upselling, and we just talked about Cutco kitchens. The thing is, there's always something that customers want, especially once they have their set and they've had it for a long time. It's easy. So now what we have to do is we have to strategize with that customer by using the brochure and reassuring them that this is the thing to do, right? And I put here, reassure customer. This is what you say. Also, this program is the best bang for your buck, and it's the way to save a lot of money through Cutco, right? This is the best bang for your buck, and it's also the way to save the most money with Cutco. We love customers like you that come up to the booth and buy a little at a time because we make more money off of you, right? Be upfront with the customer. I say that all the time, and they're like, aha. That's why you guys love it when you say, oh, buy 3, get 1 free, or add this, add that, right? Because what you're doing is you're actually giving me more money in the long run, right? The other thing that I have written here is once you upgrade your set, you will be completed. Now, yes, we know that they're not completed. What we're saying is that you'll be completed in that block, right? Whenever you think about the psychology of someone, they like knowing that they're completed with a process or they're completed with something, right? You get those customers that add a little here, add a little there, add a little there. Once you tell them, once you upgrade, you're going to be completed, they're going to be like, oh, finally, we don't have to come here every year and continually buy a little here, a little here, a little there, right? But little do they know, they're going to come back next year and then we're going to sell them on cookware and flatware and everything else, right? Because that's our job as reps. Okay. But this is where that brochure comes handy. We make it simple. We just show them the 9 pieces, we say the block, and then we go over it like that. Then you have to ask for the order, right? Can I show you your, right? Can I show you your exclusive discount for being a past customer, right? Can I show you your exclusive discount for being a past customer? The answer is always yes. Trust me, it will be worth it, right? Trust me, it will be worth it. Okay. And then what you do is you show them the price and then you give your discount based off of that. Now, everybody has their own discount. Some people don't have a discount. It doesn't matter. What you do is you always want to talk to the customer about the full value of the set that they're looking at. So when you have the brochure in front of them and you see the ultimate set on the front of that brochure, okay, what you need to do is you need to say the full value of that set. So the set that you'll have at your house will be worth $3,600. Now, the great thing is you already bought Cutco, so you don't have to worry about that. So you get the value of what you own, which is blah, off the price of the new set, which would be blah, and you only pay today blah, right? Now, the reason why I say that is because our prices are always changing. So just adjust it based off of what year or when you're selling it to the customer, right? When you tell a customer that the set that they will have on their counter costs a certain amount, but today you won't have to pay nowhere near that, it's another reassuring thing that it's like, okay, good, I don't have to spend over $3,000 for a new set. Now, if you're using what Matt says and you're trying to do a trade-in and then do an ultimate, well, that's a totally different angle. We're just teaching you how to sell the upgrade and get it over with, and then you can upsell them from there, okay? Then once you do that, it's easy. You just go right into payment plan. This is what it is. Once you're done, you're going to love it. I can't wait for you to have the full set. You might as well do it now. Rip the Band-Aid off, get it over with. This is the thing that we're doing, right? So that right there just teaches you guys your ultimate upgrade. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to utilize this brochure not only to sell people an upgrade. What we're doing is we're also selling to those people that have complete sets, right? If a customer says, oh, we already have the full set. Oh, well, you're just getting started. Cutco came out with this new program that shows you the improved and new products that you might want to add to your collection. And that gets the customer intrigued because customers think if they have an ultimate, then they're done, they're complete. Well, that's not true. We have other options for you, right? This upgrade brochure on the back of it says, upgrade your upgrade already. Well, what that means is that you can upgrade your steak knives, right? A lot of past customers love to upgrade their steak knives to the restaurant style because they had the table knives, right? So I always tell my customers, when you upgrade your steak knives, you automatically get a new block that will not only accommodate the new steak knives, but it'll have this proper storage for the knives that you're upgrading to, right? And it's great because a lot of customers, they get that new block with their new steak knives, and then they go, well, what do I do with this old block? And I'm like, well, you can either keep it and then you can add to it and put it in a second RV or a camper or a second home. Or what you can do is you can give it to your kids and we can start adding to that collection as well. Or we have our companion sets, which a lot of our customers don't even know we make. And the companion set is an upgrade to the upgrade you already have. And they're like, well, what do you mean by that? Well, see, Cutco has a lot of products. Then you open up the brochure. Most of you guys go, well, why does the brochure have all the knives? Well, that's easy because we use that for our companion sets, right? And then what we do is we show them all of the knives that they don't have in the ultimate set. Like you have the large cheese knife. We came out with one that's smaller, has a point on it. And this one's designed so that you can do your tomatoes, your onions, your cucumbers, blah, 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 blah. If you love that knife, you're going to absolutely love this knife, right? The customer's like, oh, I don't have that one. Right. So let me show you your companion set. And you can, now that the straight edges are not out, the highest companion set you can do is a signature, or you can do a full homemaker set. Now, if they have that second block, it doesn't matter. You can put in all of the pieces and they'll just have a few empty spots. And I just say, well, that's just because Cutco's constantly coming out with new items. And pretty soon you'll be able to fill those spots as well, right? And customers are like, oh, that's so cool, right? Don't think that the upgrade ends at an ultimate set, right? The other thing that I have here is that the companion set is a great thing for customers that have a full Cutco ultimate set, right? And it's funny because I work right next to a lot of people at like Texas State Fair here in Colorado, all across the nation. And not one rep ever talks about companion sets with all the extra pieces that are added on. Just think, if you start selling companion sets to people that have ultimates, how big your average order can actually change, right? Not only are you adding flatware, but you're ordering a whole nother signature set on top of that flatware set, right? Also, Cutco kitchens. This is something that's big about everybody's talking about, right? The upgrade brochure also talks about the Cutco kitchen on the back of it, right? So many times on my service calls, I've been with a customer and they have their Cutco upgrade to their ultimate. And I say, don't worry, you can also upgrade your kitchen as well. A lot of customers like upgrading everything in their kitchen, not just their knives, right? And then we go into that as well. This brochure also is a great drop-down option brochure as well. So if you have a new customer that's standing in front of you and the customer is like hemming and hawing between an ultimate or a signature and a homemaker, and they just can't make up their mind because their budget is a little off, this is a perfect brochure for you to bring out and go, you know what? Why don't you go ahead and just start off with this set, right? And I always go with the lower option, right? And I say, start off with this set. And then next year you can come back and we can upgrade you, because they have a program that's designed specifically for our past customers. So if you buy this set today, you'll become a past customer. And then next year, what we can do is we can upgrade you into that bigger set. And then the customer is like, oh, I like that idea. Let's go ahead and do that, right? It just helps you identify customers that need a little help in the financial area, but also gets customers introduced to Cutco. Because as we know, if they come back to the booth next year, which they all do, if you guys go to any of my service events, all I do is sharpen ultimates and signatures every day to every single person that comes in, because I'm really good at like upgrades. The thing is, they come back every year and it's just an easy 1,000 CPO that you get from that customer, because they're like, yep, we're here to get our upgrade. Okay, perfect. Let me pull up your file. Let me see what you need. And then we just go from there. And then next thing you know, they're adding on flatware and cookware, business gifts, family program, everything like that. Because once they're hooked, they're hooked. And we know how great Cutco is. So the big thing today is, guys, when it comes to these brochures, make sure you guys are just utilizing them as a tool. Understand exactly when you want to bring it up to your customers. Just know, don't overcomplicate things. The brochures, the reason why they're tools is because the brochures are designed for your customers to easily see exactly what's truth with Cutco. And they're going to go, oh, they have an upgrade program. He's not just pulling this from thin air saying, hey, you could do this program. It's a legit thing. And it makes that faster when you pull it out at the right timing, because customers are like, okay, this brochure, it actually works. Like they do have this. He's not just telling me I need to do this. Like, tell me about it. Show me my options. Okay, here's my credit card. Off we go. Excited for you guys. I know that NET is coming to an end. I just want you guys to get out there, sell as much Cutco as you have or can, have fun, enjoy your job. And guys, it's just beginning. You know, I look at this month, I already sold 150,000 already for the year. I'm sitting here going, wow, if I keep this average up, might be 1.7 million this year. They're crazy. But I'm just excited for you guys to learn this information, take it to heart, and just utilize it. You know, we don't tell you this every year to do this. You got to go out there. You got to do this. You got to plan. You got to strategize. And you got to make it something that you do every single time you step in that booth. super excited for you guys. Have a great year. And if you guys need anything, just reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis. I hope you do average 150 grand a year this year. That'd be crazy awesome. Yay. So